Large week in esports behind us with IGN's Pro League and Devastation. Amazing week for esports with more events on the way. This is the 87th round of VVV Gaming's Losers Bracket podcast, and we're excited to be here to talk with you about all things going on in the world of esports. I'm joined, of course, by my co-hosts Kurt and Jerry. It's going to be a great show, gentlemen. Look forward to talking with you about all these subjects. Jerry, how are you doing tonight, sir?
A little bit of esports overload this weekend. I mean, we had Devastation in Phoenix, obviously. We had King of the Couch in New Jersey, NJ Halo, and then we had, obviously, in Atlantic City, the IPL 3, IGN's Pro League. And then we have a preview for the upcoming MLG Orlando. So it is packed with information. So we're also going to be joined tonight by our very own VVV Asylum again to talk with us about League of Legends and maybe a few other things. We're going to bring him on now, Jason, so why don't you go ahead and welcome him onto the show, too.
Yeah, most definitely. Asylum, welcome back to the show, sir. It is a pleasure to have you back again, buddy. How are you doing this week?
Hello. Pleasure to be here. The weekend was filled with esports goodness. Gotta love it.
Yeah, great. I think we want to start out. Why don't we talk about your experience, Jason? I think we're going to talk about Devastation first, since we did dominate Devastation. You can talk about some of the highlights that happened over there and some of the challenges, I think. We are going to get to IPL. I know a lot of people want to hear about a little bit of StarCraft, but more importantly, what I want to cover tonight, what I think is important for everybody to pay attention to, is what I believe is going to be a very heated competition between IPL and Major League Gaming. There was an interview with David Ting. For those of you who don't know David Ting, he is the equivalent of Sundance at IGN's Pro League. He took a couple shots at Major League Gaming, and I think we should look at what their plans are, what they want to do. I'm a fan of competition, but I don't know. I think, like most events, when you have someone new to the field, I think it's important to be critical and keep a careful eye. Although I did like a lot of things I saw coming from IPL 3. So, Jason, why don't you start us out with Devastation? We took first in Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
We swept Guitar Hero, first,
yes.
second, third, fourth.
Yes.
First in Rock Band, and we also took third.
Mm-hmm.
In Gears of War. TNO, our academy team to be, a team that's vying for being a VVV team in many ways. They beat Upset Infinity, which I think was a really great, and
they did, yes.
They came back with a lot of knowledge. So start us out, Jason. How was the event?
Well, okay. Well, compared to last year, Devastation was it was a much bigger event. I was actually surprised. I walked in with Ganon and Brock on the first day, and we walked right past the old hall where Devastation was held last year and down across into the other half of the convention center where it was in a much larger room. First impressions were, wow, this is pretty huge. Full wall of old arcade cabinets, lots of booths set up just like a convention. As soon as you walked in the room, 2 Connects with Dance Central on them, which, kind of got the party going as soon as you walked in the room. That was pretty cool. Let's start out with some of the things they could potentially do better in the future. As the weekend went on, we realized that the room wasn't exactly optimized for gaming in certain areas. Those same connects that I was talking about weren't necessarily picking up the best because of lights that were shining down on the floor, reflecting back up, hindering the performance of the unit itself. They had to go grab some curtains and actually string them up so that it actually made the performance a little bit better. It was very tough to do during the middle of the Dance Central tournament that they were holding, but they ended up having to stop, pause, get those things to make the event a little bit better, and then resume. On top of that, brackets ran late every day. I was a little surprised when I saw that things were being done on paper, registrations, things like that, not via computer. Brackets were all being made manually. One could argue that that's a good thing for making sure brackets are balanced, but at the same time, for time's sake, it was a little rough just because, for example, the Rock Band tournament, which was supposed to start at 8, didn't finish until nearly 2 in the morning after starting, I think, 3 to 4 hours late. So pretty insane in that regard.
Do you think, Jason, that the new format that he used, I know that Rob had said that it was going to be you pay one fee, you can sign up for as many events, and people both signed up ahead of time, but a lot of people signed up on the spot. So do you think that probably contributed to running late? Because the way I'm envisioning it, instead of being able to do this all ahead of time, you're kind of having to finish close the registration on site and then start your brackets and start all that. Is that what happened?
I would definitely think so. I mean, one of the problems with not charging for each individual tournament is that people signed up for these events and thought, well, if I make it, I make it. If not, oh well. So there were a lot of buys, a lot of people that just didn't show up. And then those people that were, I guess you could say, lucky enough to get put up against these people would play, 3 or 4 matches less than someone who just happened to be matched up with people that were all there. So that definitely is one challenge. When someone doesn't have anything on the line to lose in a tournament, even if it's just $1 or $2, they sign up. If they make it, yay. If they don't, oh well. So I can speak for experience in quite a few of the tournaments I played in this past weekend, and I signed up for the ones I actually wanted to play in, so I made it to all of them. But there were quite a few people that were, let's say a Tekken player or a Street Fighter player that just wanted to play in Guitar Hero if they had time, and they did, but they weren't necessarily there for that event, which that kind of dragged down the fun of it for the people that were there to really play in those games. You know what I mean?
No, I do. Kurt, you're a tournament veteran, and I want to bring you in on this. I know that, you always have thoughts. You've been paying attention, and we talked about it a little bit this weekend. What do you want to throw in here, Kurt?
I would probably agree with both of you. I think the registration for all the events is amazing. I think it's something that a lot of tournaments don't do. I really, really applaud them for wanting to do it. I think that's absolutely amazing that they went through that whole process, especially with how many games they had at the event. How they could even do those many games, with individual registration is beyond me, much less when everyone's sort of paying for one, so they're just like, why not? Let me sign up for this, let me sign up for that. So I can understand the confusion there and definitely the mass hysteria. I don't want to jump on them by any means for doing it. I think it's a wise idea as long as they can pull it off, and I hope they continue it as long as they're sure that they know what they did wrong this event and they can do a lot better next event. But I just want to say that I applaud them for being that ambitious to wanting to do it that way.
Yeah, I have to agree, Kurt. I feel like from being there, we would have benefited from possibly having a couple extra staff members and people that were really passionate about each game that was there. I can, speak to the Guitar Hero event, for example, that I participated in. The judge for the first half of the tournament, before he went on break and had someone else take over for him, wasn't necessarily the most in tune with the game and was just kind of like leaning back, like, y'all do whatever, not really enforcing rules and kind of making a couple snide comments here and there as well, which that definitely took down from the atmosphere. But enough about the negatives and, those sorts of things. There were so many positives from the event as well. Absolutely loved the convention style environment that they had. There were people there that were running their own tournaments on the side. That was really cool. There were retro events. I mean, we participated, I think Brock, Gannon, and myself all participated in a Mario Kart 64 tournament while we were there, just over on the side, on a 64 with 64 controllers. That's just fun. Really cool side event to get the spectators involved or the people that aren't currently playing in tournaments. That was just a wonderful idea in my mind. That was just really good. Also, on top of that, I really liked the stage setup that they had in the middle of the event. Rock, paper, scissors was done on it, which that was really cool. Great idea for a competition. Shout out to VV Gannon, who actually took third place, the closest he could get to winning while still losing in the biggest of the rock, paper, scissors tournaments at the event. So shout out to him. Aside from that, the events that did go down, while they were a little bit late, for the most part, were run very smoothly. Jerry, I'm curious, did you catch any of the stream? Because I'm curious what the spectator experience was like from home.
Yeah, I did catch some of the stream. I got inundated with a lot of different comments. And, this tournament was really, to be honest, was one of those that I think it's safe to say that anybody who has been in competitive gaming and knows Jedi Rob and his commitment over the years with Devastation event, it's very difficult to criticize him. And I think, one, it's because he is such a perfectionist, and two, if anything goes wrong, I'm 100% certain that Rob beats himself up more than we can. I do think it's important to note that they tried something bigger. I'm sure they learned a lot, and I think they'll capitalize on this. I think for players, it was better for players than it was for vendors. I know Kim Rom tweeted, so I think he was less than impressed. But, that's not a knock against Rob. It's very difficult when everything is, rests on you and you try something very ambitious. From the streaming perspective, though, I was satisfied with what I saw. I thought it was solid. I got to watch Rio a lot. I'll be honest, that was my main draw, was watching Rio. Saturday I was busy, so I did not watch any stream on Saturday, so I didn't get to watch any Gears or anything that was going on then. But Sunday I was paying close attention. Obviously there was a lot going on this weekend as well between IPL and this and, what was being streamed from King of the Couch. Overall, I think I'm really happy with how Devastation turned out for VV Gaming. Again, I thought our showing was really strong. But let's talk, I think, about the really big sort of news there for us, which I think is really Rio. Jason, you were there. He might be, I don't know, he might be the Justin Wong of Mortal Kombat. He may be the Mewtwo King of Mortal Kombat. I just feel like he's a very powerful player.
I have to agree with you. In the grand scheme of things, to me, it feels like he's still getting his footing, as weird as that sounds, in this game. This tournament, he switched to a new controller. He was using a hitbox. He switched to a new character since last tournament. At EVO, he used Molina. At MLG, he used Kung Lao. Here he used Cabal. And, 3 different tournaments, 3 different characters, and he still won. That's just absolutely incredible. Second place at EVO, sweeps MLG Raleigh, and here, there were a couple matches that were close. His match with Eris in his pool comes to mind, which, went 3-2 down to that game 5. But man, he is just an absolute pleasure to watch. And you know what? He has the great personality of someone that should be on that top spot. Like someone that is one of those people you want to look to as a top performer. He's got that great personality too. So I am so proud of Rio. He just blew me away this past weekend yet again. And I'm sure he's going to continue on from this point because, as I said, I noticed a couple slip-ups in his play with the hitbox, sometimes where it seemed like he jumped over the opponent when he shouldn't have. And, I think he's still getting used to this, and it's scary to think, but he actually might be getting better by the next event.
Yeah. I think that one person so consistently dominating it can be very exciting because it sets the bar. It gives other people a shot to, someone to aim for. I think EG's Justin Wong obviously is legendary when it comes to fighting games, and people aim to beat him. That's the goal. That's the person people expect to beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's that's fantastic.
And to be fair, Jerry, we should give a shout out to Justin Wong for his 2 wins that he had at Devastation this past weekend too, Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So I think it'd only be fair to say wonderful job to him as well, because that's mighty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Wong is an amazing fighter. I think we can arguably say he's North America's best fighter. And congratulations to him on both those victories. Again, he doing what he does best and doing it well. So congratulations to Justin Wong, and congratulations to EG for those results too. Before we leave Devastation, Jason, a couple questions we got from our audience. A couple people asked, and first one I'll answer, and the second question you'll have to answer. First one was really want to know what the GAO 3 settings were used at Devastation maps and such. You can take a look at the Devastation website under the rules section, and it will give you all of that information. But we're going to talk a little bit more about what we're picking up as far as what we're learning. I think the feedback that we've gotten so far from Gears of War, and this is going to be based on 2 events, right? We had King of the Couch, which had Gears, and obviously we had Devastation that had Gears. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Killer KC is doing testing. And I think where we sit right now, King of the Hill is really exciting. It's fast-paced. I think everybody's really, really sold solidly on that. Some execution maps are having some problems, and camping, other little things like that. I know one comment I got back from Devastation was the man up rule. Definitely not something that people want to keep in competitive play. Not necessarily working out the way that they hoped. So again, I would say that I don't want to say that these events prove anything about what this competitive settings should be, because there's a lot of testing. But based on the results this weekend, King of the Hill, we can expect a lot of positive things with that game type. People are quite happy with some maps of the execution game type. Definitely there's going to have to be some real, I guess, serious consideration about certain teams. From what I heard at King of the Couch, there was some matches that definitely teams could extend. But the one complaint that I heard from Devastation was the man-up rule and its effect, and why it shouldn't be there. So I hope that that answers the questions. But for those of you who want to know, if you go to devastationevent.com, game-rules/gears of War 3, all hyphenated, you're going to see that, they played 4v4, and that they pretty much limited to Lancer and Asher. And all the map weapons were set to default, and I didn't see any problem with the power weapons. I've not gotten any issue with it. So, again, I'm going to have my co-hosts here. I'm going to give them that information, put that here, and let my co-host put it in the chat for you guys. And to the man-up rule, no offense to Team Simplicity, who took second place, but they definitely could have done that better. So, all right. Second question, which is going to be for you, Jason. Guitar Hero Rock Band. I want to talk about what the heck. I had no idea what you guys were going to do for Rock Band, and when I saw the pictures, I was like, "Oh my god, that looks amazing!" Who came up with that idea? That was like a total surprise. You guys went in there ninja. You came out. I saw the pictures of all of you, and I got a big grin on my face. I was like, "Now there's some of the most talented rhythm gamers on the planet," and you guys actually looked like you were dressed to have some fun. So, for those who may not know what we're talking about, give them a quick overview of the Rock Band, and then we have to move on to the next setting. But I swear to God, those hats and that smile that Asai has in that picture, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, we'll make sure somebody links you in the chat to our Devastation thread. Scroll down and take a look at the picture of the Rock Band. where did this come from, Jason?
Okay, I can definitely explain this. We were looking at the rules for Devastation's Rock Band tournament, and to be fair, it was more of a showmanship event than it was a skill-based tournament. So we thought, you know what, we're going to be there. Let's have some fun. We'll come up with something goofy, and we'll play, and we'll see if we can win. And we were trying to think of songs that would be fun, that the crowd would know, that they would sing along with, and then at the same time would be easy enough that we could just go balls to the wall crazy and still pull out a decent score. Well, we decided that we were going to play Whip It by Devo. Goofy guys, new wave, the silly pyramid hats they used to wear. Alec, VVSI 28, the gold medalist from World Cyber Games last year, his parents came up with the idea of using flower pots on our head to simulate the hats, and we all went down and bought some yellow shirts to replicate their jumpsuits, and went on stage and rocked out. I was afraid the flower pots were going to fly off our heads, so we ended up taking 4 of the lanyard strings from Devastation and actually tying them to us so so they wouldn't fly off. And basically, we just came up with a few things that we were going to do on stage, and decided we were going to go up there and kind of just go crazy. There's 2 little breaks in the song, one a little longer than the other. Gannon jumped off stage and ran around in the crowd in the first break, and the second break, much longer. I decided to follow suit, jumped off the stage, legs up in the air, landed, ran back and forth through the crowd a couple times, then actually ran around, not on the stage, but around the entire stage while playing the song. Got a good laugh out of the crowd, and I think Swoozy's exact words were that I was going crazy. So that worked out pretty well, and we ended up going first, which is normally a disadvantage in these style tournaments, because everyone can see what you did, but no one was able to replicate, and we ended up taking away first. So it was a good opportunity for us to show off the fun side of what Rock Band could be, and I think the crowd enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. So,
I just want to comment real quick, Jerry. That's one thing that I talked about last week about Rock Band and games like Guitar Hero. Like, people can talk about, they're not the biggest thing right now, but I would really enjoy seeing something like that at an event like MLG, where it's gauged, in a mixture of how you did on the song and in, how you perform and stuff like that. A lot like WSVG did it in 2007. I really miss stuff like that. I'll be honest with you. It's just good old fun.
No, Kurt, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, esports is serious business, as they say, but I also think that I've always said that no one should ever decide what titles make up esports. If there are people willing to compete in something and it has spectator value, then I think it has a place. It may not be, the crowd, the spectator experience may not be the kind that we would have for StarCraft at all. But if entertaining, I think that there's a lot of opportunities there. So I had the same experience, Kurt. In a matter of fact, it was, I think, Dallas 2007 that I was at the WSVG. Yep. And it was there that I was with one of our Gears of War players' brother who plays electric guitar, and we saw that they were having a Guitar Hero tournament, and we were cracking jokes and making a lot of snide comments about, this is so stupid, rhythm gaming is just dumb, coming in there with a preconceived notion. And we started watching, and I turned to him and I said, this is actually kind of cool. He's like, yeah, this is kind of cool. So it's one of those things, don't knock it till you try it, and I'm just really happy that you guys had such a great showing. And, again, we're proud of everybody from VV Gaming. The New Order did well. Rio, obviously, being a beast. You guys in Rock Band, and then, obviously, Guitar Hero, which, Jason, you took second place at, right?
Yeah, actually, I think to be fair, I think I did better than I ever could have expected. It was an absolutely amazing tournament. And as you were saying, Rock Band can be more for the fun side, and Guitar Hero is definitely the more competitive of the two games. Yeah. The set list, the songs that are involved, the strategy involved in picking and counterpicking songs. It was really incredible. The brackets worked out in our favor. You know, we all ended up in different parts of the bracket, and winner semifinals ended up being me versus Brock and Asai versus Ganon, so that was pretty cool. Brock knocked me to the losers bracket, and I ended up fighting back, eliminated Ganon, fought Brock in the losers finals, and ended up sweeping him 3-0, which was a complete surprise to not only both Brock and myself, but also the crowd. Ended up taking Asai all the way down to the tiebreaker in the finals, which, yet again, I did not think I even had it in me anymore, to be completely honest. But overall, it was an incredibly fun event for rhythm gaming, and I only wish we could have more of these events, because not only are they crowd pleasers with things like Rock Band, but also just the excitement that comes from playing in something like this. It's just unmatched. I'm really glad I had the opportunity to play in an event like this. It was a great time.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I do suggest, by the way, anyone that hasn't seen it, to go to YouTube, type in Freddie Wong, and then type in WSVG after it. Watch his performance at WSVG until Summer Championships, and I mean, you'll see that. I mean, I'm not like a rhythm game crazy supporter or anything, but like Paradise over here. But you can see that I do think rhythm games hold merit. It all depends on how you do them. I really do. I really do think so. And it was it was really, really entertaining, especially from a spectator point of view.
Well, you know, one other thing too, speaking of videos, and this isn't posted online yet, it will be coming though. The video of us playing from Devastation as Devo will be uploaded very shortly. We did actually have someone take video of it, so you will get the chance to see that. And I look forward to hearing people's thoughts, because playing it was fun. The crowd seemed to love it. I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. So hopefully within the next week that'll be online, and we'll link it to you.
All right. Now, I want to let everybody know that we will be having Jedi Rob back on the show in the upcoming weeks to talk about Devastation and sort of lessons learned and what he's going to be doing in the future Devastation. We also going to bring back Rod, King of the Couch, NJ Halo. So let's move to that real quick. This is what I'm going to tell everybody about NJ Halo. I think, without a doubt, this is probably the largest NJ Halo that has ever happened. I think everybody feels pretty strongly about the fact that this is definitely probably the largest NJ Halo King of the Couch, and some people have started to raise the question, was it the largest ever local LAN? Now, I want to be very cautious saying that. How do you define a local LAN? What does all that mean? I don't want to get into that. Some people are saying, it was the largest local LAN. I'm not sure about that, but it was definitely no small event. So I don't want to talk about it too much. I mean, a lot of people know the results, but there are three things that I think everybody should be aware of. A lot of people showed up. Two, a lot of people had some really, really amazing stories. There were some nights, I think, that went all the way until 4 a.m. They played through everything. I also think that Rod had his first real experience with the Gears of War community. And I think that was, it's a rough crowd, the Gears community. And I think he got a really good taste of that. And, I look forward to having Rod on. Because I think he is going to definitely take a lot of suggestions and see what he can implement to make the next event that he has that includes Gears of War even better. A lot of people do not like split screen, which makes me think a lot about what does that tell us for Major League Gaming? Will Major League Gaming be able to provide an experience that has no split screen? And I mean, that's obviously something they're going to have to decide in the off season. But obviously, the more I think about it, I have to actually agree with the Gears of War community on this one. I do not believe that there should be any split screen at any tournament, regardless of what that takes. So I'm going to be advocating, based on the feedback that I've heard from this King of the Couch, that all Gears of War tournaments do not include split screen. I think they all should 100% be full screen for all 4 players on a team, and that should be consistent. So I don't know how much anybody else wants to add anything. I'll start with you again, Kurt, if you have something you want to throw in there. Otherwise, we'll move along.
I mean, I suppose I don't have a whole heck of a lot to add to it. I would say, just for me looking at it from a completely outsider's point of view, I would normally agree. I'm just not really a fan of the whole split screen thing. I'm not really sure what the exact all answers would be. I'm not the see all be all by any means, but I definitely hope one way or another that we could find sort of a happy medium, because I can see a lot of people that don't necessarily agree with having sort of a split screen environment kind of thing.
Gotcha. Jason, what do you think?
Well, I can give my personal experiences from Devastation again, and to be fair, I'm not a professional Gears of War player by any means, not a former MLG pro here or anything. But for what my 2 cents is worth, I did get the chance to play. I played with our former co-host Phoenix and some of the other guys, Murray and them, and we had a good time. It was fun. We had, we cracked jokes, and we actually did have a screen for each one of us. And I could definitely see an issue if we were playing split screen, because even just, even then it could sometimes be a little cramped up. And thankfully we all had headsets. Those were provided to us at the venue, which is great. But if we were using split screen, oh man, I mean, it was already taken. The time that it was taken to set up things like that, if we were using split screen and settings and things like that, I don't know. I think it might have been a little rougher. So yeah, I think it's full screen all the way in this scenario.
Well, that's good. So expect us to again invite Rod back on the show to talk a lot more about what they learned in their experience doing this event. Obviously, there was a lot going on in Brawl, in Pokemon. And as much as I would love to spend a lot of time on that as well, we would be not doing our jobs if we didn't really talk about some of the bigger stuff upcoming. So next, and Kurt, you know what? I think we should talk a little bit about IEM, because there was some of your love going on this weekend. And before I get all into the what we'll call the IPL versus MLG war, Let's start out with what went on at IEM. Talk to us. What went on at IEM, Kurt? You Counter-Strike fan, you.
Well, once again, IEM's coming up this weekend. So IEM New York will be coming up this weekend. That's probably the biggest thing to talk about in coming up, at least. It's coming up at the same weekend as MLG Orlando, so definitely there are some StarCraft people that couldn't make it, but. One thing to note, if I'm just going to talk, if I'm just going to talk about Counter-Strike for right now, one thing to note for people that are curious about Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Counter-Strike Global Offensive will be at Comic-Con, so that will be at New York Comic-Con with IEM, and they'll even be hosting show matches there. So what that means is, from the way we understand it, there will be 2 matches going on, where they will have 2 teams from each of the group brackets playing together in a versus match, basically in a 5v5 in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So you will see pro teams that have been playing 1.6 forever playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive and giving feedback on it, which is amazing, because there's going to be Valve people there, there's going to be developers there. It'll be good to hear their feedback, and not to mention hear what they have to say about it once they get back home. So just as a really quick note there, the 1.6 teams that will be going, we will have Team EG will be there in Group A, MTW, UMX, and Black and Yellow, who actually took place of the team called ATE. And Group B, there'll be a team called WinFact. There'll be my team, Check 6, which we also picked up this week, if anyone is familiar with Temporary.
Congratulations on that pickup, by the way, Kurt.
Thank you very much. A lot of really legendary players. The roster's Fraud, Storm, Dizaman, XP3, and Hiko, and Warden as the backup. So pretty big name players. SK will be the 3rd team, and then Simzora, I guess is how you pronounce that name. They're a Brazilian team anyway. So yeah, a lot of really great teams. If anyone is loving Counter-Strike as much as I am, please look into it this weekend, because there's going to be some amazing matches that you don't want to miss.
Yes, indeed. So
if we want to talk a little bit about LOL as well, we can. That'll be Asylum. We can bring him in on that.
Hey.
Yeah, hey, Asylum. Let's talk a little bit. I mean, League of Legends For those who don't know, League of Legends is not going to be at MLG. That was like their sort of run. They had that. They got the data. They know what they're doing. Now we're going to be looking at next at the next place League of Legends will be at IEM. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Oh man, I looked at the groups that they announced for IEM, and it made me a little bit sad. I mean, given CLG did come in at the last minute when it was supposed to be a Southeast Asian invite team, it just if you look at the groups here, I'll explain the groups. In Group A, we have Fnatic MSI, Team Dignitas, Team Solo Mid, and Counterlogic Gaming. Group B, we have SK Gaming, the French team Cypher, V8 Esports, formerly known as Team Rez, and Curse Gaming. Why? That
is ridiculous.
Group A is completely stacked. Completely stacked. They put the top 4 teams in the world in one group together, and then they put number 5 through 8 in another group together. I'm really confused by that. In my opinion, they should have mixed it up. That's just how
IEM. It's called the IEM syndrome.
Yeah, the IEM syndrome, exactly. But
they do it all the time.
Before I get more into IEM New York, I want to talk about IPL and what happened in the League of Legends tournament they had there. Wow, I don't think anybody expected Epic Gamer to make it all the way to the finals, and then have Dignitas take them 2-1. That was just completely. Nobody saw that coming. Dignitas, the IPL was their first major tournament, their first LAN event for sure, and they came out in force. I mean, unfortunately, they didn't have Voyboy with them because of age restrictions due to Caesar's Palace and Bally's in Atlantic City. But wow, they put on an amazing performance. I think they only lost one round in that entire tournament, and that was to EG in the grand finals, and they took them 2-1. I'm glad that Dignitas, former Rock Solid, is now in the scene, and they made a splash. Let me tell you what, CLG, TSM, in all the interviews I heard with them, they all tipped their hats to Dignitas. They definitely deserved the win. They deserved the nice fat check that they got at the end of IPL. And honestly, I'm looking for them to take IEM, even though they have an extremely stacked Group A. What are your thoughts on that one, Kurt?
I mean, I think it's definitely going to be a harder road than IPL. I mean, I think one thing about Dignitas is I think a lot of teams, like we were talking about last week, are a little bit confused by them. They're sort of one of those teams that are making up things that don't necessarily happen, making up team comps that don't necessarily happen all the time. But I think that eventually teams, especially teams like CLG, who traditionally are very, very dedicated to the game, are going to eventually figure out what's going on.
At some point.
They're going to eventually say, hey, we've played them quite a few times now. Maybe we're starting to catch on a little bit. As to whether they can actually figure that out by IEM, which is just next weekend or this weekend, it remains to be seen. But I think it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens with Fnatic, because that's the more interesting note. Is people forget the Fnatic won Season 1, and we haven't heard much out of them lately. As far as I know. But seeing how they play against a team like EG that is unorthodox in America, maybe is not necessarily orthodox in Europe, unorthodox in Europe. So I think it'll be interesting to say the least. So I'm probably going with Fnatic. I think they have, to me.
You're going with Fnatic?
I'm going with Fnatic. I don't want to, because I'd like to see an American team, but I'm going sort of out of the norm here. I'm going with Fnatic. The reason I'm going with Fnatic is one of the reasons I think Fnatic has a lot to represent. They have Fnatic to represent, which is an amazing organization. They've got a lot on their shoulders. They're coming off of, they haven't done really much of anything since Season 1. I'm going with Fnatic.
Yeah,
I'm very disappointed though to not have EG at IEM. Epic Gamers. I guess I'm gonna stop saying EG.
You gotta be careful about that.
I gotta be careful, man.
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed not to see Epic Gamers there, and I really hope with them placing second. I just want to note this. I'm really hoping with them placing second at this event that they get their shit together, and I mean that in the nicest way possible, because they place second with what I believe is very, very little thought and effort.
I will say this. We saw Heimerdinger at IPL. Hell yes. We saw Heimerdinger in the middle. Dandon, he is such a troll, but he is such a great player.
I don't know if anyone saw the Epic Gamer interview at the end, but it was hilarious. Those guys are absolutely hilarious. They talked about that guy. I'm trying to remember his name. Not Dan Den. It was the guy at the very end that was just such a troll. He was just trolling. Dyrus, yes, Dyrus.
Yeah, I think you mean Dyrus.
He is the biggest troll ever.
If I can ask a quick question though, because I think somebody asked it in there. We're looking at where teams are playing and what's going on. Anybody got any word? And I think it's worth asking. And I don't know if asking it quite like this is the right way, but I'll ask it this way. So what happened with Team Solomid?
Ooh.
I think it's a good question. I think it's a damn good question.
I'll let you have this one, Kurt.
We know. Is this just a byproduct of the team itself?
I'll be completely honest with you. I don't really know as far as the innards of the team and of the roster. I'm not sure if that's changed much. What I can tell you is, I know for WCG, they were a little split up because of some players being Canadian, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Asylum. So they've had to sort of play with sort of this mix-up of CLG, to practice for WCG. Maybe that has something to do with it, considering they will be competing with CLG at WCG. Maybe that has something to do with it, or it could just be the fact that I will always say the number one problem with teams are complacency. Maybe they just got complacent,
That is what I think it was.
Because in the end, they're a great team, but you got to understand something about TSM is more than a team. They're making pretty decent money too. Maybe not money in the bank here for them, but they're one of those teams that is actually sort of supporting themselves, all because of their amazing streams, their content on their website with their build instructions and stuff like that. All that stuff is stuff that they make quite a bit of money on, getting their own sponsors. So maybe they just got complacent in this fact that of where they're at. I don't know.
Now, Solo Mid, I've always seen as either a fire or ice team. They're either really on their game or they are just completely I don't even know how I would grade them as a team. Maybe fourth graders who have never seen a computer before, but they're either really hot or they're really cold. And I honestly think at IPL, ouch. They didn't put on the best performance. Hopefully at IEM they pick it up. I really hope they decide to pick it up. And to answer JH's questions, yes, Reginald is still a boss, but he's very inconsistent. He is a great player. Don't get me wrong, but there are times when he is just absolutely terrible. We all have our funks. We all get them. Some more than others. Cough. Me cough.
I was going to interrupt real quick because I want to bring it back to where we started on this about predictions. And Kurt, to make sure, you're going with Fnatic at IEM, right?
I'm going with Fnatic at the very least for Group A. I'm not sure if I'm ready to make which I guess would be, if Fnatic wins Group A, they should win. I'm just going to.
I think Group A is the group to beat. I agree with you.
Group A is the group to watch.
Definitely. Let's talk about Dignitas real quick, because I think that a lot of people were looking at that team. They had a potential. They were in the right space. Kurt, I know you and I, Check Six and VV Gaming, we both talked to that team. It was on everybody's radar screen as one of those teams that might be worth picking up. And then, bam, they signed with Dignitas, and here they are. Talk a little bit about your thoughts of that team.
To me, they are just absolutely confusing. I love the guys. After talking to them a little bit, I mean, it's no secret with me. I'm an open book here. We did, speak with them quite a bit about joining Check Six, just, relatively mostly. But we were just too busy to really completely knock it down and knock it through because we had just a bunch of stuff going on, which is a fault of ours. But the problem, one thing that I noticed with them is I swear they went from a team that was a good team that people knew about, but they were just in the shadows, overnight to a team that everyone knew about. They had a Facebook with thousands of people, a Twitter with thousands of people, and they were streaming like crazy. Overnight. I don't know what happened. I mean, Asylum, do you know what happened that was that jump? I remember they posted on Reddit, on the League of Legends Reddit, and said, we're rock solid, here's an AMA. And then all of a sudden, they were just crazy popular. Like, really popular.
I will tell you exactly what happened. They qualified for IEM New York.
Nope, this was before they qualified for IEM.
This was before. This was they actually did really well in NESL for season 1. And then they won a couple of Go for Lols, and people start saying, "Hey, these guys are someone we should watch." And then they qualified for the online qualifier for IEM New York. People watched them, and they just blew up. It was just literally overnight, like you just said.
And people forget they qualified for WCG too, one of the very first teams that qualified. So I mean, everybody knew they were a good team, but it was just they were always in the shadows of CLG, TSM, etc. Epic Gamers. But then overnight, they just went from, we're rock solid, no big deal, to, hey, we're rock solid.
Yeah, exactly. It was absolutely crazy. Like I had a few words with Voyboy last night, and he's still just stunned that they signed with Dignitas, one of the best gaming organizations in Europe. They're based in UK, if I'm not mistaken. And his stream, like I just casually hopped on a stream last night. He's got like almost 2,000 viewers just from playing solo rank, and he's never really had that all that much before. And he's just like, wow. Like, the team itself is still kind of in shock that they're so popular so quickly. And I'll tell you the reason why they're so popular. They are changing the game as we speak.
Yeah,
they are changing.
I agree.
They're changing the metagame completely. They looked at the metagame that was currently going out, and they were saying, okay, well, screw you. We're going to do what we feel like, and we're going to beat you with it.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people, just follow everyone else's sort of footsteps there, and they're not. I think that's a lot to be said to a team that is not complacent. Like I said, I mean, teams at the top get complacent very, very easily. It happens all the time. So a team like them that was sort of in the background and in the shadows, that just sort of came out, just guns a-blazing, I have a lot of respect for. Hopefully they keep it up. Hopefully they don't become complacent again. It's like, hey, we're a big deal. Now that we're picked up by Dignitas. I hope they don't become that. I truly, truly do.
Well, I've had casual conversations with several of the players, and mostly they're just really humble. They are really humbled by being picked up by a sponsor. And
when I talked to them, they were too. I mean, when we talked to them weeks before Dignitas did, and we were pretty, I guess hot and heavy with it, but at the time they just weren't that popular, and we were so busy that we just weren't pushing it too much. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, overnight they were boom, 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 and they do seem very, very humble, and they seem really, really eager, I guess is a great way to put it too. So very, very hungry.
All right. Well, for those of you who want to watch League of Legends, then we're going to be looking at that for IEM. Wow, there is a lot of esports, and we haven't yet to hit IPL and Major League Gaming, which we are going to come up to here in a moment.
Right.
I don't know, we didn't talk about it last week, but in the area of MOBA games, I just want to point out for those of you that may be Heroes of North fan, the North American Star League Nazzle did announce their invite teams for Heroes of North, and I think there were 8: Complexity, Fnatic, Reason, the American team Trademark, there's Online Kingdom, Lion eSports, which I do believe are the Dutch team, and then we have Team Infused, which is also UK team. So I mean, that's also going on, and I think that this brings up what I think is going to be a real exciting time, but also a real challenge, is this saturation of esports. Last week we asked the question, can there be too much StarCraft? And this week with Hero, and we haven't even touched, the upcoming elephant in the room, Dota 2 coming out. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. And I think that, without covering too much of it on this show, I know a lot of people have written off Heroes of North, but we'll see what Nazzle stream numbers are like. I don't know if MLG is still going to do something this year with Heroes of North or not. It was my understanding that there have been some issues with some of the people at S2 Games that are in charge of Heroes of North that have turned a few people off. So, we'll see. I know JH asked, it's a general question here. I think the MOBA scene is almost becoming overwhelming with all the games that are basically kind of the same thing. Do you think there's a chance there could be too much MOBA? And I think it's a good question, JH. I don't want to address it right this moment, but maybe if we have time at the end of the show, we'll come back to the question, do we have too much MOBA? With that MOBA being said, and we talked a little bit about League of Legends, let's jump into IPL 3. I'm going to tell you guys, I was at work on Thursday when I started watching IPL, and I don't normally make time at work to watch esports. I'm busy, I have things going on, but once I caught the stream, it caught my attention. This was a serious operation. That was the first thing that came out of that. And I know EG was involved, Sir Scoots, in helping getting more prize money to players, which I thought was fantastic. I knew that it had interaction with, sort of the top teams and organizations, which was good. And now what would they deliver? And I thought they delivered a fairly good product despite them having issues. From my understanding, there was a Comcast line got, or some connector or a line from some accident got cut, and they had to reset that. So there were a couple laggy moments, but overall it was pretty good, I thought. And I did see some amazing StarCraft, I'm not going to lie. And we have a Frenchman winning it all in Stefano. We definitely see a lot different results from the previous Terran dominated events. So clearly the latest patch of StarCraft has definitely affected game balance in a pretty significant way. And I think that's, that's awesome. But I got to tell you, after all of this happening, I really kind of felt Stefano, I felt he vindicated himself in a lot of ways. I thought he had taken, him and the French in particular, all of them had taken a lot of heat for Stefano backing out of complexity. And then for Stefano to come into IPL 3 and win it all, I think it quiets a lot of your critics. Some people made little snide comments about, hope you enjoy playing for Millennium, hope you enjoy being French. And I think he absolutely enjoys it. And I think he did a good job. So let's start with everybody's experience a little bit with IPL, because this is going to grow. It's here to stay. If you didn't watch IPL, if you don't know what IGN's Pro League is about, you're going to know, because it's definitely made its mark here. Kurt, I'm going to start with you again. No, I'm going to start with you, Assam, because I know, Kurt, you've got a lot to say. And I don't know if we're ever going to get anybody else to come in. So, and I want to keep it somewhat short. Asylum, 2 or 3 things that you thought were really, really good, or what was your opinion? What was your impression?
First off, ZVZ Grand Finals. Putting it out there right now, that is freaking amazing. I love watching ZVZ. I love
all
watching
for the Swarm,
Zerg.
huh?
I love watching Zerg. I'm a Terran player, but I love watching Zerg players. A couple things that I liked about IPL. Production quality, first off, absolutely amazing. Watching the streams over the weekend, wow, it was better than MLG. But then again, I don't have a silver or gold membership, so the IPL just had amazing production quality, amazing commentators, amazing gameplay. The overlays that they had during the gameplay of watching the players and the commentators and the crowd all at the same time, just absolutely amazing. I was a little disappointed that they didn't have more Korean players there. Like, I would have loved to see Nesty and MVP go up against Stefano. I would have loved that because I think Stefano would have stood a pretty good chance against them. But just the production quality over the League of Legends tournament and the StarCraft tournament, absolutely. I gave it an A- because there's always room to improve, of course.
I gotcha. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's really true.
And I think the only criticism that IPL is really going to catch, besides the whole interview with David Ting, which I'm sure you will get to later, and I'll let you talk about that, but was the fact that there weren't as many Koreans as we had hoped. Now, I was extremely happy to see Stefano and Lucky go at it in the finals. I mean, both two very top-notch Zerg players, but there weren't as many Koreans there. And I think that may have hurt IPL's image a little bit, just a little bit, but I'm really interested in seeing what David Ting and the IPL team does for IPL 4.
I'm also interested in League of Legends. I didn't get to watch a lot of that. What was your impression of the League of Legends coverage?
Well, they had Rivington III and Freak commentating yet again. The Riot staff coming to commentate. It wasn't half bad. I'm not. You
sounded almost disappointed with that.
I am disappointed with that because I feel that Riot has a monopoly on the casting market for League of Legends right now. And I'm not going to do a rant or anything here because that's specifically for you, Jerry. I'm not going to rant on the show. But I would personally like to see more commentators come out for League of Legends, and I feel that that's not going to happen until Spectator Mode is finally released, which they gave us another preview of at IPL 3. And it looks absolutely amazing. It looks nice and polished, and I want to see Riot bring it out within the next, I would say, couple of months. Give some other commentators a chance to step in the ring for, say, MLG, IPL, or any major event going on to pull for more casters. You know I'm a caster. You know I love casting. I may not sound great right now because I'm sick, but
well, before we get and that's a fair comment, and I do think we have to be patient. Before I call them a monopoly, I'm going to be patient because I don't know if if it's possible for everybody to do what we need to do. And I know, Kurt, you wanted to jump in, but I'm going to put you on hold so I can get Jason's 2 cents in. Because Kurt, I know you. You and I are going to talk for half an hour. We're not going to let anybody get in. Jason, I got to hear what you thought. I know you didn't get to watch a lot, though, did you?
No, because of course I was at Devastation. But and then Asylum already mentioned it. That David Ting, that Ting interview is definitely going to be something I'm going to enjoy discussing because I did catch that, and I've got a lot to say on that as well. I mean, there's some interesting choices that IPL is making that differentiate itself from MLG. And to be fair, I'm curious as to what other people think, if it's going to be a negative change or a positive change. I mean, the things like, and I'm sure we'll get into this more later, so I won't stay too long on this, but things like, being based out of a casino and, younger players not being able to attend, their long-term plans, what's the exact way that Ting said it? Not following American culture and focusing down 5 years down the line instead. Overall, IPL has me very interested, I think is the word, because, bringing in teams from the Oscars to do your video presentation, I mean, that's quite ballsy. And from what you guys are saying on the presentation, while I have not had the chance to check out the video yet since, I was kind of a little busy this past weekend, but that sounds like great things. I'm just curious what the future holds for it. So,
and we're gonna open that to Round Panel. And we're gonna open that up on Twitter and everywhere. Because I think it's worth talking about.
Indeed.
In great detail. Kurt, I know you were even more glued to IPL than myself, so take us through your experience.
I have my eyeballs literally glued to the screen. I really don't remember getting up much at all that day, but I'm lazy too, so that has something to do with it. But just a quick note, while it's fresh in people's minds, I want to mention something about the spec client for LOL, because it's the only thing that I wanted to talk about with the spec client, the spectator client, that they sort of previewed at the event. The spectator client does look amazing. They've thought of literally everything. They had little boxes for advertisements. It doesn't get much better than that. So I applaud them for it. I think it's coming along great. Hopefully they keep it up. As far as the event in general, I have mixed reviews. I'm not like others. I'm not ready to jump on a bandwagon yet. I'm not ready to completely, bow down to them because I'm always skeptical. But they put on an amazing event. If you look at just this event, you really can't find too many things wrong. I can't really find virtually anything that they did wrong with this event. It was ran pretty much perfectly. It really was. The fact that they were down for multiple hours in the middle of the day when matches should be going on in prime time, they were down because of the entire, basically half the state of New Jersey was down, if I'm not mistaken, is what they said. And in between that, they had amazing coverage of what people will always consider to be one of the most hilarious matches. It was they basically did a show match of where it was Boxer versus Huck, not in StarCraft 2, but in Brood War. Yes, it was absolutely amazing. It was hilarious. Huck talked pure trash. Boxer got super mad and just told him to remake and shut up, basically. And then Boxer just laid it down. It was 1-1. We never got to see the best of 3 because Slayer's Jessica made Boxer go to his appointment that they'd already had set. So, but it was absolutely amazing. It was hilarious. If you missed it, please go back and watch it. Huck was being crazy BM. I hope that Boxer didn't take it bad or anything. I don't think he did, but it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. The little things like that really made it an amazing event for me, the spectator watching it. The fact that they had people going around giving interviews. The Strelok interview was hilarious with Lonnie. Please go watch that. White Raw is always hilarious. They talked with him a little bit as well. Just these little things were absolutely amazing. And really the matches played in perfectly for that because the matches were phenomenal. I mean, really, to me, looking at it, I don't watch much GSL, so I can't speak for GSL, but it was some of the best StarCraft matches I've seen, ever since its release. Really was. Some of the ZVZs, some of the what I consider probably one of the best StarCraft matches, which was Kiwi Kaki versus Stefano. I think is what it was. I think that's right. Yeah. Was absolutely amazing. That game, I think...
you're talking about, just to be clear, you're talking about the opening of the championship bracket. It was the first round coming out of pool play, and it was Kiwakaki, who, for those who should know, but if you don't, he plays Protoss, obviously against Stefano Zerg. And you're talking about what has to probably be, I think, some of the best Mothership play I think I've ever seen. It is the best Mothership play I've ever seen.
Dead Mothership.
It was insane. I've never in my life. I mean, it was crazy. You need to go watch it. I will post it in chat for people that have not seen it. I suggest everyone to go watch it because it was absolutely phenomenal. And that's not it. The White Raw played amazing. White Raw, unfortunately, I would have loved to see him go to the end because I think he deserves it. He's one of my favorite players. He is also a co-sponsored player, so he's sponsored by the same sponsor as Check Six, so that helps too. But I absolutely love him to death, and he's played amazingly at IPL. He basically was the only one there to use a warp prism pretty much every game, and he didn't care. Like people knew he was going to use a warp prism, and he still used it. He's a boss. That's all you can say.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that you very much want to see amazing play, and I don't know. I think Blizzard does their adjustments well. A lot of people are looking to see a little bit different StarCraft, and we got a lot different StarCraft. So I don't know. I thought overall I was really happy with the event.
Absolutely amazing event. And just a quick thing to also put in there is what JJ put in the chat as well. The panels were amazing. They did pro player panels on both days. They did one pro player panel with Idra, Huck, White Raw, and I forgot the fourth. But and that was an amazing panel. They kind of looked like they didn't want to be there, but other than White Raw, but the panel the next day was great. It was
You're talking about Live on 3, right?
No, I'm not talking about Live on 3. The IPL hosted this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was an IPL sort of live panel on the second stream that happened in the middle of the day sometime. The second day they did a pro panel with In Control, Stefano, Select, and MC. And that was a hilarious panel. Please go watch that. In Control. Say what you want about him. Say if you don't like him, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's a hilarious guy. So you need to go watch it because he's phenomenal.
For those of you who don't know, there is also a Major League Gaming event coming up this weekend in Orlando. Jason, Major League Gaming is coming to your hometown.
No, really? Oh, wait, yeah.
I know, right? So most of these players, I know Stefano, for example, Remy from Millennium told us that he's staying in the U.S. Obviously, he's going to be at MLG. We have, obviously, some great StarCraft coming in, 2 weekends almost. Well, actually 2 weekends in a row. No, almost about it. 2 weekends in a row, we're going to have phenomenal StarCraft. So I think it's just one of those things that it's exciting, but they put Stefano in the open bracket. MK Prime is going to be there. White Raw, I know, is going to be there. DeMuslim. So I think we've got some
only person in the world, Jerry, that didn't mention Boxer.
Well, I mean, Boxer's actually going to be in pool play. I was talking about open. Boxer's not in an open. I think Boxer got... Boxer goes right into pool play, right?
I'm sorry.
There's just so many disgusting players in open. Oh, my God. Open's just...
I have a question, though. Why is In Control still in pool play and not...
Don't.
No.
You're the only person that can say that and get away with it.
Because if I ask that question, someone's going to say, Jerry, don't. And I'll be like... I think Jeff should just fucking resign himself from pool play so we can stop asking the damn fucking question. Like, Jeff should just raise his hand and go, you know what? I admit I don't belong here. I should step out because it's...
The funny thing is people have brought that up to him, and he's like, are you fucking kidding me? No, why would I do that?
Because you suck. Because you can't...
All right, Jerry.
Right?
I'm pulling you away.
No. We want to watch the best StarCraft players, right? Stefano, you know what? It's good he's an open bracket, but I swear to God, there's a lot of people who have to face off against Stefano and MK Prime. You've got White Raw there. EG's DeMuslim is going to be there. TSL's Alive is going to be there. So that's a pretty big open bracket, right? So Stefano, MK Prime, White Raw, TSL's got Pult, and I think I said Alive there.
I think the actual open bracket discussion is for another day.
It really could be an open. You're right.
But just as a note, the open bracket, please MLG. I'm not a brain surgeon. I can't figure it out for you what the best thing to do is, but please fix it. Because I don't like it at all.
Yeah, well, I think they're going to fix it next year for sure.
Yeah, it'll happen next year. I mean, there's too many good players in the open bracket right now. Thankfully, let's be realistic here. They did add those extra streams so they can cover some of these matches.
Oh, that's fantastic. I agree.
That's amazing, and that helps me out as an organization that's going to have 9 players at MLG Orlando. That helps me out, and I applaud you for doing it at MLG. I hope you continue to do it.
I agree. It gives everybody a chance to have their players and those player sponsors shown on a stream, and I think that's important for everybody. Let's talk about the pools coming up at MLG Orlando. Pool A, I'm going to say this, and people are not going to agree with me, but I think Idra has an easier road. He's got Hey Pro, TLO. I know Boxer's a great legend, but I just don't know if his game is where Idra's is right now. I think Idra's game, especially with the last patch, and then obviously Drewby. Drewby might be another player who should stand up and leave the fucking pool. Talking about it honestly.
Well,
right?
let's wait till see what he has now that he's came back from Korea.
Okay, you're right. We'll see if that makes a difference. We'll give him that one.
Well, you see, I like
after a few months in the house with DRG, things might change a little bit.
Here's the deal, though. I like Pool A just because I would love to see Boxer smash Idra, but Boxer hasn't been performing. Like at IPL, I think he went 0-6.
No, he didn't go 0-6, did he?
I don't know, but Boxer didn't do that well. I think that's a fair statement. I don't want to go back to IPL. I got to keep things moving before I forget. Pool B, Kiwakaki, Bomber, In Control. Love you, Jeff. Sheth, and then EG Puma. That's going to be some interesting matches there. I mean, Kiwakaki, although he lost to Stefano, he played well. But Bomber, I think, is probably the favorite in that pool. What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah, I would probably say so. Yeah. If not Bomber, maybe Puma. I think it's definitely a toss up between Bomber and Puma. Although seeing Kiwakaki play, you never know with that kid.
We'll see.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut about Pool B.
You know what?
That kid surprises me, so I don't like, making predictions. If I had to make a prediction, I would probably honestly go Puma over Bomber.
I don't understand how all four of you mentioned 4 of the 5 participants and didn't mention In Control at all. What's wrong with you all?
That's why
I hate you.
Jason, you're trying to get us in trouble. Stop.
Yeah, you are. I'm going to get a nasty letter. Dear Lord Jareth.
Oh, I'm just playing. Come on. I'll stop trolling. I'll stop trolling.
Let's go Pool C. We've got Slush, right? Liquid Rat, Fanatics Rain, EG's Machine, and then
Hongun Prime.
Say again?
Hongun Prime.
Exactly, right?
That's how they say it in GSL.
Absolutely. And I don't know. That's another one that
when in doubt, go with the Korean.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad idea, generally speaking, but let's go to the pool that I think is going to have the best matches. I'm just going to tell you this right now. Pool D, I see it as the pool of death. Huck, MC, and July. I think July, Zergs have definitely, since the patch, shown a lot of power. I think it's going to be a really that's probably going to be the pool. I mean, especially if the way the seeding comes out of open bracket, if Pool D ends up having, say, like a Stefano in it.
Oh God.
I mean, it's possible. I think it's possible.
That's just not even fair at that point, Jerry.
No, that's going to be tough. So I think that's where we are right now. I think we're definitely in in some exciting, and for us, for VB Gaming, Titan, Murder, Rough, Hasu, Titan, Zerg, strong, always strong. I think this is going to be a really great performance for him. We have Hasu, who's been playing really, really well lately, and I think he is chomping at the bit. Rough, let's face facts. Rough cheese keeps getting better and keeps getting more interesting. I swear to God, I'm going to get Rough a lab coat. I think I'm going to buy Rough a lab coat because he is really the mad scientist. And Murder's been a phenomenal player. We'll see this time, hopefully. I think he'll have less going on in his personal life, so hopefully that'll translate to better focus. I'll be very interested. But again, when I look at the players in the open bracket, and you've got players like Stefano in there, it makes it really and MK Prime, it makes it really tough not to think, what if one of our players is going to get knocked out early because they get seeded against Stefano or MK Prime? I mean, these are what I think what you were talking about, Kurt. Please change. I'd rather have them go up against In Control. That I'd be comfortable with, right? But going up against Stefano.
Now you're trying to get yourself in trouble, Jerry. God.
Well, it is.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think I understand MLG's problem. They have to balance between showing the best matches for the best players, the players they're going to show them. In the end, that's what they're looking for. The players are going to bring them the best numbers. But at the same time, they also have to gauge and balance between, completely screwing over the people that attend an event only to get knocked out in the first round. So, to me, they have to find a better medium than they already have, whether they like it or not.
But I mean, look, we should really look at this as, I love MLG events, and this is always going to be fantastic. I think one thing that we have to be really savvy about is, and I think it's time to talk about this one very big thing. We know that David Ting threw down the gauntlet in a way and said, some things about Major League Gaming that didn't make me really happy. I thought it was very naive. And before we talk about that, I think we should do a quick overview, a quick breakdown, because for those of you who don't know, I want to first I have a very specific way I want to handle this, so that if anybody gets pissed off, they can get pissed off at me and I can tell them to go fuck themselves, because really I don't care. You don't pay my bills. First shout out goes out to ESFI for doing a great interview. I thought the interview with David Ting, those questions were thoughtful. I thought it was very smart questions, and they definitely solicited, I thought, some really good answers. So a big shout out to them for doing the kind of interviews with the kind of people that we need. I thought that was a really solid interview. So that goes out to ESFI. Thank you for that interview. So to tell you guys how I came here is I think it was you, Kurt, who brought the video to my attention and said, hey, have you seen this? And I said no, because I had Foxy Moxie and a bunch of people over Saturday. We were drinking. Sunday I was playing catch up, and I had to go to my parents. And then all of a sudden you said, hey, come take a look at this. And I took a look at it, and I sort of had to take a step back. And I thought, man, who's this guy? Right? And listening to the interview, there were a lot of good things said in the interview. And I thought that was really solid. Like, I thought there were a lot of good stuff. And then came the basic question about Major League Gaming. The interviewer sort of positioned it, for those of you who haven't listened, that, there's sort of the big boy in the room is Major League Gaming. They're funded by venture capital, blah, blah, blah. And David Ting's response was that, and it's not the exact quote, but you can listen to it, it's very close, that he says, I wouldn't brag about taking venture capital, right? He says that venture capital is good if you're going to grow, but it's not good if it's just for existence. And part of me sort of shook my head and thought, that was a pretty naive statement. You should not have said that. So if David Ting ever listens to this, that was not what you should have done. When you're the new kid on the block, I'm not a big fan of coming out there swinging. Make friends, contribute to the space, but don't come out swinging, because it's almost like you're insulting the intelligence of your audience. So for those of you who might right now be thinking, wait a minute, Lord Jareth, he's right. No, he's not right. Not only is he not right, he's almost misleading the audience with a comment like that. So David Ting, by his own words, says in this video that he had this little idea, and it's one line in a PowerPoint sentence, and he thought about himself, and he likes to gamble, and he likes gaming, and so we're going to do it at a casino, and blah, 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 and he's got a long-term vision, got it all. But I think we want to correct the record before anybody gets the idea that Major League Gaming is bad for taking venture capital, and IPL League sucking off the tit of IGN, sucking off the tit of News Corporation is somehow not just surviving. Because unless David Ting has magically created the way to make esports profitable, and his first event out of the gate, he got all that money back and has a positive ROI for the IGN Pro League, if that's the case, well, then, maybe the master himself is doing something well. But I'm suspecting that's not the case. And I'm also suspecting that starting a war with Major League Gaming, which is something I'm not a fan of, right? I'm a fan of people doing very positive things and naturally, people are competitive. Competition is good. I'm a free market guy. Major League Gaming, it's good for Major League Gaming to see IPL do it well. But when you start to attack someone who is done, I would be careful. I would be humble. Major League Gaming survived your previous entry into this space. Now, maybe and I'm referring to Fox and I'm referring to CGS, Championship Gaming Series, now, which is also owned by News Corporation. Now, assuming that maybe the previous CEO of Major League Gaming, Brombeck, with his New York Times article, and it was full of bravado and bullshit too, maybe there's some of that lingering. Maybe this is what is a sort of legacy of Bromberg. But if you know your history, Bromberg's gone. There is no more Bromberg. There's a Sundance. And Sundance is not at all like Bromberg. Not at all. I genuinely believe that Sundance deeply cares about Major League Gaming and loves what he does. Bromberg was there, in my opinion, for a quick buck. And he was an AOL flunky, and anybody who came out of AOL was never a fan of mine. But this guy, David Ting, who had one little line on a PowerPoint and got all this going and likes to gamble, I'm not so sure. I'm with you on this one, Kurt. I think you said it best. I don't jump on the bandwagon. Like, it's fantastic that he reached out to Sir Scoots. I got really high-quality stream. But I'm not so sure if the future of esports is going to rest in a casino either. So I've got some concerns there too. But the one thing that bothered me, and the one thing that bothered me deeply, was the idea that Major League Gaming taking venture capital in some way is not something they should brag about. For one, I don't think Major League Gaming has ever bragged about taking venture capital. It's kind of like bragging about air. It's just what you do. Right? Some people have angel investors. Some people have private investors. Some people go to venture capitalists. Let's face facts. Their partners over at Major League Gaming, Oak Investment, they had like the Huffington Report. These aren't like minor players. Those are some pretty good partners, right? So again, a little humility to David Ting, right? Calm it down some. Nice that you have a lot of money from IGN, from News Corporation, big public company. That's fantastic. But until you're turning a big profit, and, Rupert Murdoch himself is like, I like gaming. Look at what David Ting has done for IGN. I would calm it down a little. Relax. Here's what I think's good about what David Ting did. I think this does give Sundance and Major League Gaming a competitor. And this drives technology and it drives competition. I don't think Sundance would have leaked that they are working on something with Agora Games to give us a 4-view display, which I imagine is going to allow us to view team games a whole lot better. My only advice to Sundance is maybe he should make it 5, so that it can incorporate League of Legends, it can incorporate the players, and maybe possibly even the coach. And maybe, Kurt, Counter-Strike Go in the future, right? That's going to be 5 players, I imagine. Would that be correct, Kurt?
Giggity, giggity.
I know it. So I think absolutely, right, that would be good. And if I were Mr. Ting, right, if Sundance develops that technology through Agora Games, right, pissing at them may not be the best way to go, because technology is never a permanent competitive advantage, but that group over at MLG, aka Agora, etc., they know a little bit about community and they know a little bit about developing things. And it's great you're doing StarCraft, and it's great that you're doing League of Legends, and it's obviously he's got a 5-year plan, but casinos aren't family friendly to me. I'm not so sure that that's the ideal venue for competitive gaming. And to be honest, I'm not in the mood for a war. Kurt, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then we're going to go to Jason, and then we're going to go to Asylum. Kurt, what do you think?
I'm going to try to keep it short. It's another one of those topics I could probably talk about all night, but first off, on most points, I do agree with you. To start off with the good points, I want to go ahead and start off the good points because I want to give him something nice. And there's a lot of nice stuff to talk about. First off, he did mention the fact that he's planning 4 events, the same size of IPL 3 or bigger for 2012. That's very big. He also said in the interview that he wants to promote the amateur scene. So what he means by amateurs are basically the people, I hope at least, is the people that aren't able to quite break out into the limelight yet. The people that MLG is unfortunately, as of right now, at least missing. And not, like I said, not for And hopefully for this event they're going to be doing a lot better considering they're having the 2 extra streams. But so hopefully he's right in that. I think that's a lot to look forward to. I do agree that I think competition is certainly most of the time a good thing. I think it's going to fuel a fire that has always been there with Sundance and those guys. I mean, you can respect them for it, but I think it's definitely going to fuel the fire a little bit more. And I like the fact that they changed the pool play and have worked with Scott at EG and all that. I love the fact that they were so open with allowing Live on 3. Live on 3 did 2 live events there, which is just amazing. They did a lot of things right. And he said a lot of things right in the interview, including the fact that he wants to put Counter-Strike at the next event. Hint, hint.
Yeah, I didn't even touch that one because I probably zoned out when he said Counter-Strike. I'm thinking I probably went, But no, I mean, I think...
That being said, he did say every other game under the planet as well, but he specifically said Counter-Strike, so that got me happy.
I'm sure, I was going to say, he'd say a lot of things. I mean, again, talk is cheap.
I agree completely. And talking doesn't mean that Valve's going to give him the okay to put 1.6 in it either, especially with CS:GO coming out. I don't think he has a chance in hell. But speaking from history at least with Valve. Now to talk a little about the bad things. First off to speak, I do not presume to know the history between Sundance and IPL and MLG and IPL. I don't know it at all. I don't presume to know it. I'm not going to make guesses. So I don't know if maybe they've talked before and there's bad blood there. I don't know if maybe them attending IPL events. I mean, MLG events, because he did say that he's attended multiple MLG events.
Well, just to let you know, I did reach out to Sundance to get sort of his input on this, and there was no bad blood from Sundance as far as I could tell.
Good. Yeah, I mean,
I think for Sundance, probably one of the challenges for him, is that he all of a sudden sees this person coming after him, and the approach doesn't feel direct, right? Right. There are direct approaches and there are indirect approaches, and what David Ting did was a really indirect, snide approach, right? And I think, again, maybe it's something that David Ting will correct later. Maybe he will go and apologize and say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I think it's better if they have a friendly rivalry, a friendly competition. I think that's what you're getting at. But I certainly don't think that Sundance at all, at least publicly, he certainly didn't start this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not going to presume to know anything on the inside or anything like that. But that would be, the number one thing is anybody that says that he didn't make the remarks, that he didn't mean it like that. Sorry, guys, you're wrong. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, he meant to make the impression that what is some kind of remark towards MLG. And now, whether he was, he actually meant to do that long term or anything like that, I don't know. But I'm not against IPL. I'm definitely not against MLG. I just, I think I don't necessarily agree with anything that's going to start a war. There's a big difference between a war and friendly competition. I don't want to see anybody sort of back and forth. That's not good. It's been done before, guys, and it never turns out well. So,
no, I mean, if all of a sudden, what I'm afraid of, right? What I am really afraid of is that we will see somebody trying to own players again, right? That is what I am afraid of. And not because, and hopefully nobody wants to go down this road, but there is that thought that as that ratchets up, do we end up in a situation? I mean, we saw it in Halo, right? When there wasn't a good relationship between World Cyber Games and Major League Gaming, and in that time I would be a little bit more critical of MLG just because of the way they handled it publicly. But that's all in the past. But those are some of the things that worry me, that leagues will want to start owning players. That's the only thing that I want to say that I'm sort of worried about. So go ahead.
I would probably say it's something to be worried about on the back burner. I wouldn't necessarily worry about it on the front burner. I don't think MLG or IGN can necessarily go through with that, as of yet, even if they wanted to. And I don't think they want to. I hope MLG and, dear God, I hope IPL as well have learned from past history that doesn't work. You allow the teams to do what they're best at, which is manage the players. You're not leagues aren't the best at it. So that's what I would say to that. So.
Well, I think I think we can be fairly positive. Jason, I want to bring it to you, and I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit about what your thoughts are, and then kind of maybe see if we might even bring on an additional guest if we need to here in a moment, but we'll get to that in a minute. Jason, what are your thoughts?
Well, okay. The interview is rather interesting, to say the least. Yeah, it's really great to have this long 5-year plan that's focused and these lofty goals that they want to do. He said an exact quote, I believe, was that they wanted to have a portfolio of games for spectators so they could have a choice. Additionally, he said he wanted to have 24/7 content, which in theory is great. I would love being able to tune in any time of the day and have content available. Those are all lofty goals, and I would love to see someone shoot for that. That's good. However, on the other hand, the way they get there is what's kind of concerning to me. Seeing events like this taking place in a casino, I know we've already talked about this, but this kind of cuts out the younger audience. Even if the younger audience was allowed to get in to the venue, I know if I was younger, my parents wouldn't want me going to a casino to play video games where there's the chance for something bad to happen, in that sort of environment. I'm a little concerned about that. Additionally, and I know you've already mentioned it, but the whole shot at Major League Gaming, I believe one of the, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the exact wording that he said was taking venture capital is a sad story because it means you aren't making any money. That to me, I don't know. It seems like the wrong thing to say right now. It just seems like that's just asking for a war to start out, and that's the last thing I want to see. Yes, it's going to force competition. It's going to the production quality is going to force MLG to raise their bar. But at the same time, I don't like the way that the interview made it seem like they're going to go about this. So I like the goals that they have set. I'm just curious if they're going to travel this exact road the whole way there, because if they are, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, and that would be my own thing. One thing I'm not really for anyone in this particular thing. I'm for esports in general. I want them both to succeed. But that's my only gripe, is just that I wish everyone would just. Me personally, I would love to see them work together. I think there's a lot of things that people can learn from each other. IPL has hired some great people. Really, they really have. I don't know Alex Kahn, to be exact. I don't know him that well. I know Ask Joshy. I think he's in chat now. I know Frank from BT. They're all great people. They've hired some great people in SC2 especially. I hope to see them hire some more people that aren't just in SC2. And they know what they have some great people on their side. But to me, you can't make that up for first-hand experience. And MLG has first-hand experience. MLG has been in this field forever. So for them to be able to work with them, I think it would be great. It's just a matter of if both of them are open to it.
I think, obviously, if I were Major League Gaming, you're always concerned about competition, right? It's good, like I said, that they're entering. But again, what we're going to do is we'll probably reach out, and I think one of the community managers for IPL, Josh Smith, has just contacted us wanting to come on the show. Do you guys think we have time to bring him on, or should we wait?
Well, one thing to note, is he interested in coming on? I think he said he couldn't just because.
Yeah,
I'm seeing that now. He said he doesn't have the authority to come on and talk.
He just said
that. Here's my advice to Josh then, because again, I'm this kind of guy. If you're going to say things about Major League Gaming in our chat, and we're a public show, you are in a way coming on this show and saying things, right? Because now people are going to say, well, Josh Suss said that MLG didn't allow them to interview somebody, right, Josh? So now you put us in the position of having that said in our chat. And, I'm the kind of guy, if you're going to say it and you work for IPL, I want to know the details, right? We just
I mean,
what the truth is. That's me.
Exactly. If MLG did that, I want to know it. It's not that I'm against anyone here. I want to know it because
Exactly.
I wouldn't agree with it. No, from your standpoint, from what you're telling me, at
that
least.
gives me an opportunity to ask Sundance, hey, Sundance, what happened in this incident? And Sundance may say, I never heard about it. I can fix it, right? And Sundance can then address it with whatever staff member may have acted in an inappropriate manner. But no one's going to be able to fix it, right? If
the same way IPL fixed it. I mean,
and here's the thing, right? I just want to make this clear to Josh and anybody at IPL. I don't care what Major League Gaming did. I'm going to tell you that right now, right? You're the new kid on the block. If that's what they did, then don't stoop to their level, right? Take the high ground. Do you know how many people say shit about the things I do all the time? Fuck them, right? I do my thing, right? Kurt, people give you shit. I know that. Fuck them, right? They don't pay your bills. So I'm just saying that at the end of the day, right, if there is something that Major League Gaming did, or there's, right, then let's address it. But all I'm going on is an interview with David Ting. That's what we're looking at. And in that interview, he clearly took shots at Major League Gaming. If I look at the other side of the aisle, I have nothing on Major League Gaming publicly saying any shit about IGN, so I can't say that it's mudslinging. The only thing I have is Sundance on Twitter saying that he got an email that somebody at IPL had somebody take off an MLG shirt, which I didn't even mention on this show. And the only reason I bring it up now, Josh, is because you're saying, hey, MLG wouldn't let us do this. Okay, well, just as I'd love to know who sent that email to Sundance to verify it, I definitely would love to know who stopped this interview at the last MLG event regarding somebody from IPL so we could look into it. That way, we can start addressing these things, because it is better for everybody if these two groups get along. It is better that they each try to do the best possible job so everybody wins. Mudslinging, any of that, all you do in my eyes is you sort of further demonstrate that the boys who do gaming haven't quite grown up yet. And they still like to throw a little bit of shit in the mud, at one another. So I am all about, Josh, you coming on this show, but anything you say on our stream, that's all public. I'm just being clear, right? So,
and that's the good thing.
You right at Rally. That's what we're talking about here, right?
I'm sorry. What did you say, Jerry?
I said he was referring, and for those who know, he was referring to the Alex Khan interview at MLG Rally. That's the interview he was talking. That was interrupted, right?
Yeah, and from what he's saying, Synapse, I think, was the one that was doing the interview. And he's also in the chat, and he brought it up specifically. I don't know Synapse personally, hi Synapse, but so that's my understanding, is that he was in the press room. He had a press pass with the SFI. He was allowed to do interviews. He then tried to do an interview of Alex Khan, and MLG stopped them in the middle of production and said, no, we can't allow this here. And once again, I'm just saying, from their point of view, what they're saying. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that's what they're saying. And I think we're all very interested, and this is a good thing about having a live show, guys. This is absolutely this is stuff that some of us had heard in the past, but we weren't sure what was going on. So we just want to know what's going on. That way, Jerry can talk to Sundance, get his opinion, and if it's all just a big misunderstanding, you two, as an IPL and MLG, can kiss and make up. Because I think it's better for all of us if you do.
Oh, I think so too. I mean, if there was an issue, right, where Major League Gaming, didn't want this, interview to happen, and they did it just to be petty, yeah, I'll let Sundance know that probably is really silly, But again, we're gonna have to look at this from the facts, right? And if it is a he said, she said, I hope you both just stop it right now. So, to make sure that this is clear, my position. If MLG was petty and they kicked somebody out of a press room because of that interview, and if, right, because of that, IPL made people take off an MLG shirt and David Ting made that interview, right? if those things are all true, well, the interview is true, but that, then just stop, right? Just stop it right now. Because this isn't like Lord of the Rings, my little fantasy boys, one ring to rule them all. It doesn't work like that. You're all entrepreneurs in a field that is not yet profitable. I want you all to think about that. I will not be at MLG Orlando this weekend because I will be around people who are very profitable in their day job. There are brands you may recognize like Nike and McDonald's. On a side note, I remember Time once said you should never want to compare yourself to McDonald's, to which I was a StarCraft player, former StarCraft player, to which I said, you obviously aren't a shareholder, nor understand much about McDonald's business, do you? It's neither here nor there. My point being at the end of the day, right? My point being at the end of the day is get along. Don't just be blind loyal to your business, because I'm going to be quite honest with you when I say this. You are not yet profitable. So if David Ting thought that shot against Major League Gaming was some big deal, I'm here to tell you I'm not impressed. Venture capital, a lot of people use it. To say that it's a sad story to take venture capital represents a naivety about the business world that has me concerned. And the one nice part about IGN Pro League, David Ting, is your company is owned publicly. And with that, it would be one letter to investor relations that would make somebody at them go, you know, David, you should think quite carefully about what you say or how you say it. So I'm just saying humility from both sides, a bit of discretion, and both, for all of us, we all win if both leagues do really phenomenal things, right? So here's my last point, and Kurt, you can tell me how you feel otherwise. And I'd love to hear from you as well, Jason. I would one day love to see the leagues pay for all players to travel. I really would. If you guys want to do anything, right, start taking those top players and maybe paying for their travel. I don't know how that would work out with leagues and sponsors and everything else, but it would be great if you could be involved without owning the whole player. Because there's a lot of things that a lot of the top esports organizations do that is critical. The team management, the headaches, the work that Kurt and I do, the work that goes on with Alex and Scott at EG and Jason Lake and Alex Conroy at Complexity, and the list goes on through all the organizations. There's a lot of work, a lot of people volunteering. I would like to see positive things happen for players. I'd like to see you both coordinate your schedules so neither Major League Gaming nor IPL ever has a pissing contest with both events going on at the same weekend. Do not do this. Talk to one another. Develop a healthy relationship. And at the end of the day, right, don't be blinded to the fact that this is an infant in the business world. You are all pissing away other people's money. Sundance has been subsidizing gamers coming to tournaments for years on other people's money, and he deserves our respect for that. My organization, for one, has benefited because of Major League Gaming, having that venue to compete. If it wasn't for Major League Gaming, we wouldn't be the most accomplished console organization on the planet. IPL coming into this space has an absolute right, and it's in the American economic free market competitive spirit to compete. I think that's positive. And anything that will do one thing, which is all this is about one thing, making sure the best players get to go to events regardless of their economic situation. That's what this is about. Because I don't want to sit at home watching an event that the top players can't attend. We don't want to see an IEM China that Idra wins and then Slasher says, I don't think there was enough competition there. It's not good for anyone. So if there is any bad feelings, put it away. News Corp pulled the plug before, they could pull the plug again. So humility, Mr. Ting, humility. And on the flip side, Major League Gaming, if there are people in your organization that are defensive, you still have some of that Bromberg dirt on you, wipe it off. You've had a long proven track record of innovating and trying to do things. You all learned a lot, and we still have a lot to learn, especially as everybody has online offering right? That's the big thing now, the content that everyone's going to be providing. So at the end of the day, regardless of what it is, and one more thing, to those of you in the stream from IPL, I would love to have David Ting on the show. I would love to have him come on the show and talk to us about what IPL is doing, the future of the league, what some of his plans are. I'd love to have him on. I followed him on Facebook and Twitter. I certainly, and I would really appreciate if you guys would let him know that, because I certainly don't want them to feel picked on. And, the same thing, I will be sure to when we bring Sundance back on the show, I'll be sure to ask this question. But if incidents happen where staff on either side treat staff from the other side poorly, I would be a little bit more humble. All right, that's all I'm going to say on that. Kurt, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just to talk quickly about 2 points, I want to hit your first point, which is about the paying for players here in just a moment. But I want to talk about just in general and wrap up what we were talking about. First off, Josh, thanks for coming in the chat. You coming in the chat has made the discussion that much more interesting, so we appreciate it. The second thing is I would really just, for the most part, agree with Jerry. I would say a little humility goes a long way. I am not one that is on anyone's side in this. If MLG wants help with anything at all, they know my information, and they know plenty of other people 10 times better than me to talk to. Same exact thing goes for IPL. So, I think everyone in the community is here to help. I really do think that MLG and IPL can help each other and benefit from each other if they are having problems, squash it out, and for that matter, make sure that it doesn't happen again. I mean, if David Ting is going, well, I don't want this to happen in my organization, fix it. If MLG is saying, well, our staff got a little bit out of control, then handle that as well. Just handle it, get it taken care of, and I think everything will work out for the best. Like I said in the chat, just because you're competition does not mean you have to be brutal competition. It doesn't mean you have to be beating each other up or slinging mud. Let's just, I think there's plenty of room for people to work together. So, last thing, just to quickly mention what you talked about the paying for the players, that worries me. You know me, Jerry. that tends to worry me. When a league starts paying for my player to go to an event or our players to go to an event, I worry that they might, start asking for a little bit more than I'm willing to offer. So I do worry about that. But I do think it is best for the community to make sure the best players get to an event, and sometimes even us as an organization, or EG for that matter, well, I guess can't get a player to an event. So I think something like that might be able to work as long as they're willing to strongly work with the organizations that support the players for everything, not just their event, for everything. The teams that actually, like I said before, are the best at what they do. The managers, MLG, you're not team management. IPL, you're not team management. Let people like EG and us and VVV do what we're supposed to do, and I promise you, we'll let you do what you're supposed to do.
Good
and
stuff.
Jason, what do you think about it, bud?
Well, I kind of feel like you guys hit all the major points, and I'm excited to see where this goes moving forward, because we've discussed quite a bit tonight that's rather interesting, to say the very least. I really hope that, as you all were saying, that Mr. Ting did get the chance to get the messages we were just talking about. I hope the IPL staff does get these messages back to him, because, frankly, I think that having him on the show would be a great thing, not just for the public to hear what his opinions are, and possibly we could grill him with a couple of interesting questions too, give us some more information about the future of IPL. But I think it would be a great thing for esports in general too, because you're right. I mean, if we have these petty differences, then that's not going to help us grow esports. The last thing we need is some investor or some potential sponsor saying, you know what, these two are slinging things back and forth at one another. I really don't want my brand associated with this. That would not be good for anybody. So fingers crossed. I'd like to see him here on the show, hopefully in the next couple weeks, maybe after MLG Orlando or something like that. And then we can see where the future, takes us, because overall, I think that things are very bright. We've got a couple leagues out there that are going to be vying for dominance, and that can only bring about positivity. So
I think competition is good. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. And I know I got a tweet from Ted Oddie, who is the managing editor over at ESFI, and he definitely would like to come on the show. But we're nearing the end of our show. So Ted, I just want to say I sent a Paradise look at your tweet. Oh wow. I think I mistweeted Paradise. I'm going to have to retweet his. I think I just put it to @Paradise versus @VVV Paradise.
That's not the first time you've done that, by the way.
No, that's not. You know that?
Yeah, and Ted's a great guy, by the way. He's been working in gaming forever. He was a Call of Duty guy first. So shout outs to him. Sang is a great guy. I mentioned, and he's doing great things at ESFI. So hopefully we can have him on the show sometime, if not just to talk about drama.
No. I'd love to get to know him as well. So, his Twitter is Ted Oddie, all one word. Jason, I'm going to tweet it now, so that you have that information.
For sure. I'll see if we can get that set up. Look forward to having him on the show in the coming weeks.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully that this drama, subsides a little. I think we're just going to keep our eye out. At one level, I think that if you really think about it, right, when you look through the sort of what the future sort of holds, I think it's important that that we find out, exactly what the relationships are between the organizations and where they're headed and what they're doing. I want to point out one critique we got. Somebody said to me on Twitter, it was Miles D92, said, @Lord Jareth, I feel like you're making this way too big. Second, I thought he stated that he had a very small money from IGN. To Miles's point, I don't know if there is a too big or too small. I'm not sure what the right size for any kind of discussion like this is. As far as very small money, I don't know. He'd have to quantify that for me. What does he mean, very small money, right? And does that mean he got a lot of money from partners and sponsors? Again, he was the one who opened this up by criticizing Major League Gaming. That's the point that we're really looking at. So I just want to make it clear that I'm not going after IGN, if you have that impression, but he certainly, right, made it seem that Major League Gaming, when you tell that someone else it's a sad story, then I think you're definitely, in my opinion at least, misleading the people listening to that interview about MLG's true situation. So that was the central point of this. And definitely our goal here is to head off a war. I don't think it's good for anybody if there's this sort of unfriendly rivalry where dates get mixed up and people are trying to do things to sabotage each other's events. I don't want to see this get ugly. Again, there's not enough money in the space to fight over this. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and just to really quickly comment about what he said. I'm sorry. People were saying we're blowing it out of proportion. Sorry, I don't see that. I don't believe that at all. One way or another. I think if you pay attention to the interview and pay attention to what he said on Live on 3, if you have a little common sense, you can see that there was tension there. And anyone saying not, I completely disagree.
Yeah.
I think with that, Jason, it's time for us to bring this show to a close. Mm-hmm. It's definitely been an exciting show. I'm glad we had the participation we did.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I'll let you do your thing.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a great week in esports, and I think it's only about to get better with this weekend. So we've got MLG Orlando and other events coming up. So going to be really entertaining, and I think it's going to be exciting as well. So thank you all for listening. We definitely appreciate all the feedback you've given to us, and thank you so much for all the people that came into the chat, the IPL staff. We look forward to hopefully having some of you on in the future. Ted from ESFI, thank you so much. Maybe we can get you on soon. I know we've got another really great guest coming on next week as well. So we'll see what we can do. We'll get some schedules worked out and we'll make it happen. Additionally, huge shout outs real quick. Jedi Rob, Devastation, thank you so much for all the hard work you put in. That was great. Rod from King of the Couch, great event from everything I've heard. Really, really respect what you're doing. Thank you so much for these events. You guys are amazing. Additionally, huge thanks to all of EV Gaming sponsors, SteelSeries, Gamer Grub, Control Freak. You are all awesome. And, of course, Power Glove. You hear their music every week on the show. Big shout out to them for letting us use their music, providing that to us. They're great. Huge shout out to the entire competitive gaming community. Your feedback and support is what keeps us going. Thank you so much. If you want, you can stop by our podcast homepage. The website's vvgaming.podbean.com. You can also subscribe to us, VV Gaming on iTunes. Just search for us. We'll come right up. You can email us any feedback you've got. The email address is thelosersbracket@vvv-gaming.com. And you can also follow us over on Twitter for all the news and upcoming updates about our show. The Twitter account is simply Losers Bracket. Once again, we would like to thank you for tuning in this week. And on top of that, if you're going to be out at MLG Orlando this week, I'll be there. I'll be running around the venue, snapping some pictures and tweeting all the results. Come up to me, say hey. I will be wandering the venue the entire weekend. I don't bite at all, so don't be a stranger. Come up, say hi. I look forward to meeting you. Jerry, did you have any shout-outs before we headed out?
Yeah, if you guys want to continue this conversation, I'm sure you're going to want to know where to find it. Jason, you're going to probably get this out, I imagine, tomorrow, edited and up on our site. So we throw this up on our website. If you go to our forums, vv-gaming.com/forum, you'll see it above our shout box. We always have the latest episode of this show above our forum shout box. And then also it's obviously recorded on our Twitch TV channel, unedited, raw, so you can get it there as well. It was a good conversation tonight. I want to give a shout out to the people from IPL who hopped on. I want to give a shout out to Sundance for retweeting about the show. A lot of good people are passionate about this. I'm excited to see it. It's an exciting time in esports. And I want to thank, as always, the VV Gaming community. You guys, you never cease to amaze me. We have a new website coming out courtesy of your donations, and I'm going to be very proud when we unveil that to the world. So, and of course, a thank you to Jason, Christian, and Kurt for being on the show. And Christian, you're up next. Your shout-outs?
Well, VVV, of course, as always. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, of course, Sundance from MLG and everybody from IPL coming in and listening to the show. We always love having people coming in on the chat and talking, making the show a little more interesting, especially since we do it live now. Want to give a big shout out to Paradise for working through the technical difficulties. I know we had a little bit of a rough start there.
Oh Jesus!
But we'll work on that and make sure next week we're good to go. Big shout out to my MOBA division. I know a lot of them are listening tonight, and thank you guys for coming along. Sorry I've been a little sick and haven't really been able to do much as far as the losers bracket tonight, but another big shout out also to my buddies at Team Dignitas. We'll hopefully be getting some of them on the show probably within the next few weeks as well, so big shout out to them.
Awesome.
Well, Kurt, I think that brings it to you. Did you have any shout outs before we
I purposely didn't say anything in there. I was so sure Kurt was going to come jumping in there. And it was like,
right?
You know, because, sorry, I couldn't resist. Kurt, by all means.
I purposely didn't jump in there because I didn't want to do it. But okay.
No. You mean because you took up so much time that I didn't get to talk about David Ting and MLG?
No, I couldn't care less. No, I couldn't care less.
That hurts now. That hits home, Kurt.
Kurt, it is now your turn, sir, for your shout out, sir.
first off, I want to go and promise. I promised the shout outs last week for people that they would show up this week. I'd shout them out on the stream. So Rocket Biscuit, Glory D, VVV Trod, I think is one. All those guys, they showed up last week and wanted to shout out this week, so I'm going to give it to them because they deserve it. Thanks for showing up and being consistent, guys. I guess my own shout outs. I want to shout out to everyone at Check 6 Gaming, Zax, Ben, Evan, Rob, everyone over there, Mike, all the guys over there in management that helped me out. We'll all be, I personally won't be, but 9 of the players and staff will be at MLG this weekend. So please feel free to walk up. Chance, Pain User, HC Starcraft, Sickness, Anna Thorne, Maker, Mystic, Vare, and Jimmy. And Fujikura and Mike will all be at the event wearing their Check 6 jerseys. So please feel free to come up and take a picture with them or whatever you would like. Talk about them, talk shit about me, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's about it. That's about all my shout outs. I do want to say one thing real quick. Sorry if anyone was offended with what we said tonight, but I do think that it's better that everyone is honest with each other and isn't so blind towards things. So
yeah, most definitely.
It's the losers bracket.
Yeah.
We call people out. Come on.
I got Jason. I got Kurt. They're the nice guys on the show. If you want to be pissed off at anybody, I'm your man. Nothing makes my day more because you know what? I'm around nice, intelligent people all the time. And to have some hater come around and display his ignorance, it makes me feel like a well-rounded person at the end of the day. It really does. Oh, that was condescending. I loved it. All right. So, Jason, thank you again so much.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. This has been a great week. I can't wait to see what happens with the rest of the week. I mean, MLG is going to be great this weekend. I can't wait to attend. I know I already gave some shout-outs, but I have a couple more. I want to thank all the guys from VV Gaming that were out at Devastation. So that'd be the Rhythm Gamers, Asai and the entire Castillo family. There's Brock and Gannon, our entire Gears of War team, Radiation, Zombeast, Astonish. Oh, that kid's great. Monk was just amazing as well. Rio, such a pleasure to be around, such a pleasure to room with. Although, and I never said this to him at the event, so it's kind of funny to bring this up on stream, but waking up with his head on my shoulder at one point, that was kind of funny and odd. So thanks to Rio for giving me a laugh that way over the weekend. But aside from that, guys, we absolutely are so glad that you tuned in. We can't wait to have you back here next week. So until then, take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.